He was more than a horse. He was hope with a heartbeat. The day Barbaro fell, millions wept for a champion they'd never touched but would never forget. Today his hooves are still, but his spirit gallops on, carrying our dreams where the finish line never ends. This is the story of a colt who ran straight into legend, not just for how he conquered the Derby, but for how he faced the unthinkable with the heart of a warrior. This is the story of a team that refused to give up when the world had quit. This is the legacy that still makes grown men cry at Churchill Downs, and the lesson that true champions never really die. This is Barbaro. Today, we step back onto that sacred dirt, stand before his statue, and remember the day the world watched a champion rise, fall, and rise again in the hearts he left behind. This is not just a racehorse's story. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest finish lines live on long after the race is run. He was born to run, but Barbaro was destined to rule human hearts. From the moment this striking bay colt hit the racetrack, he left everyone breathless. In 2006, Barbaro stormed the Kentucky Derby, crushing the field by over 6 lengths, a performance so powerful that fans dared to whisper the impossible. Could this be the next Triple Crown champion? But fate can be cruel to legends. Just 2 weeks later, at the Preakness Stakes, as millions watched with pounding hearts, Barbaro shattered his hind leg in a horrifying twist no one saw coming. The world held its breath as surgeons worked miracles to save him. Barbaro fought like no other, enduring months of pain, surgeries, and heartbreak with the courage of a true champion. He didn't just fight for himself, he carried the hopes and prayers of an entire nation desperate to see him stand again. In the end, his body gave out, but his spirit never did. Barbaro's legacy lives on in safer tracks, stronger vet care, and a reminder that even in tragedy, a champion's heart never truly stops running. Barbaro didn't just win races, he won us forever. When Barbaro thundered across the finish line at the 2006 Kentucky Derby, he looked unstoppable, a living symbol of power, grace, and hope for a long-awaited Triple Crown. But destiny had other plans. Just 2 weeks later, a bone-shattering injury at the Preakness Stakes stunned the world and exposed the hidden dangers of the sport everyone thought they knew. Barbaro didn't just fight for his own life, his brave battle opened the world's eyes to the harsh reality behind the glamour of racing. Millions followed his every surgery update, praying for a miracle. Though he lost his fight, Barbaro's struggle ignited a revolution. Tracks were forced to rethink safety. Veterinary medicine advanced leaps and bounds, setting new standards for equine surgery and post-injury care. Animal welfare groups found a powerful symbol to push for reforms, better tracks, stronger oversight, and more humane treatment for these magnificent athletes. Barbaro's name lives on through scholarships, memorials, and medical research that continues to save countless horses today. In the end, Barbaro wasn't just a champion on the track, he became the catalyst for change. One horse's heartbreak forever transformed the sport he so loved to run. May 20th, 2006, a day that should have cemented Barbaro's unstoppable rise, turned into the moment that made the entire world weep. Fresh off his breathtaking Kentucky Derby win, Barbaro entered the Preakness Stakes as an untouchable favorite. The build-up was electric. Fans were ready to witness history in the making. But just seconds after the gates flew open, everything changed. In a sickening instant, Barbaro shattered his hind leg. Jockey Edgar Prado did the impossible, pulling him up before tragedy struck on the track itself. Cameras cut away. Spectators fell silent. The golden dream of a Triple Crown was replaced by a raw collective heartbreak that echoed far beyond the finish line. Yet Barbaro didn't fade quietly. His fight became the world's fight. Each surgery update made headlines. Strangers sent prayers and letters. Hope flickered in every heartbeat of a horse who refused to give in. For 8 long months, Barbaro battled for life with the same spirit that once made him a champion. In the end, he lost the race against time, but he won something far bigger: the hearts of millions who will never forget the day they cried for a horse named Barbaro. Everyone remembers Barbaro as the unstoppable Derby hero and the brave fighter who wouldn't surrender. But behind the roar of the crowds and the headlines were quieter moments that made his story unforgettable. From the start, Barbaro wasn't just a racehorse, he was family. His owners, Roy and Gretchen Jackson, treated him like a beloved son, not just a champion. Trainers and stable hands spoke of a horse with a gentle spirit who loved peppermint treats and ear scratches before big races. Behind the scenes at Churchill Downs, Barbaro was calm but commanding, a superstar who knew when it was time to turn on the power. When disaster struck at the Preakness, it wasn't just surgeons who rallied, it was an army of caretakers who stayed by his side day and night, whispering comfort into the stall where hope refused to die. And when goodbye finally came, tears didn't just fall at the stable. They fell across a nation that had fallen in love with a horse who taught them about courage, devotion, and loss. Behind Barbaro's fame were countless untold stories, tiny, tender moments that remind us legends are made not just by victory, but by the love that carries them beyond the finish line. Barbaro was never just another name on the track. He was living proof that miracles can run on 4 legs. When he thundered through the Kentucky Derby in 2006, he didn't just win, he demolished the field so completely that fans whispered legend before he even crossed the finish line. But it was what happened after the Derby that made Barbaro bigger than racing. When disaster struck at the Preakness Stakes, millions watched helplessly as hope collided with heartbreak. His fight to survive wasn't just about mending shattered bones. It was about refusing to surrender when the odds screamed otherwise. Fans sent cards, flowers, and endless prayers. Children drew him get-well posters in crayon. And when his brave battle ended, Barbaro didn't fade into history. He was immortalized in bronze statues, lush memorial gardens, and the hearts of people who needed to believe in something pure. Today, Barbaro is more than a memory. He's a symbol of courage, heartbreak, and the unstoppable spirit that makes champions live forever. His story still fires up new generations to dream big, run harder, and never stop fighting, no matter how brutal the race gets. When Barbaro shattered his leg at the Preakness Stakes, most thought it was the end. But this was no ordinary horse. This was Barbaro, the undefeated Kentucky Derby champion who turned tragedy into a global story of hope. Surgeons took a gamble no one had tried before, piecing together a leg so broken it looked impossible. Plates, screws, a custom sling, Barbaro endured hours under the knife, then stood on fragile limbs that shouldn't have held him. But they did, because he refused to lay down and quit. For weeks, millions clung to daily updates. Newspapers ran front-page headlines. Fans lit candles outside the hospital. Little kids sent get-well cards with hoof prints. Strangers wept for a horse they'd never touched, but felt they knew. Every step Barbaro took in his special recovery pool was a step millions cheered for. Every day he stood was a lesson in raw courage. Though his fight ended after 8 months of surgeries, setbacks, and staggering bravery, Barbaro's miracle fight changed the way the world sees racehorses, not as disposable champions, but as living souls worth every chance to stand again. He didn't win that last race, but he taught us all how to fight like a champion. Barbaro's legend was built moment by moment, each one proving he was born to run and fight like no other. The night he was born, strong, healthy, and full of promise. His first gallop across the farm, showing a stride that turned heads. His debut win, a commanding start that made trainers believe. Crushing the Florida Derby, a statement that the Derby dream was real. His stunning Kentucky Derby win, a 6-length blowout that made him a superstar overnight. The gates opening at the Preakness, the moment hope and horror collided. The devastating injury that changed everything in a heartbeat. The miracle surgeries, metal plates, and endless care to rebuild what was lost. The daily updates, a nation hanging on every step and every small sign of hope. His final goodbye, and the promise that his courage would change racing forever. From pasture to winner's circle to an unbreakable fight for life, Barbaro's moments remind us that legends aren't just crowned. They're made by heart, spirit, and a story that refuses to die. What if that fateful step at the Preakness never shattered Barbaro's leg? What if the champion who demolished the Kentucky Derby field by 6 lengths had charged on, unstoppable, into the Belmont Stakes? Many believe Barbaro would have crushed the Triple Crown drought, ending nearly 3 decades of near misses. He had the stamina, the stride, and a heart that refused to lose. If he'd stayed sound, Barbaro might have joined Secretariat and Citation in the pantheon of immortals, changing the record books forever. And imagine the ripple effect. A Triple Crown champion with Barbaro's bloodline would have reshaped breeding for decades. His foals, strong, fast, and fearless, could have dominated generations of racetracks around the world. Sponsors, fans, and the sport itself would have looked different. A hero horse on cereal boxes, mainstream talk shows, parades, Barbaro would have been more than a legend. He'd have been a household name. Instead, we're left with racing's greatest what if, a reminder of how one step can change everything. Even broken, Barbaro still ruled human hearts. But oh, how sweet it is to dream of the history he almost wrote, if only he'd finished the race his way. Behind every legend stands an army of human heroes. And Barbaro's fight for life was powered by people who refused to let him fall alone. First came his owners, Roy and Gretchen Jackson. They didn't see Barbaro as just an investment, but as family. When disaster struck at the Preakness, they could have ended his pain instantly. Instead, they poured heart, hope, and millions into saving him, because they knew he deserved that chance. Beside Barbaro was jockey Edgar Prado, the man who may have saved his life in those critical seconds. Instead of pushing the broken horse to run on, Prado pulled him up, an act of instinct and compassion that gave Barbaro a fighting chance when seconds mattered most. Then came the surgeons and vets at New Bolton Center, pioneering treatments never tried before, working around the clock, inventing custom slings, rebuilding shattered bones, and fighting laminitis with every ounce of skill they had. These heroes didn't just fight for Barbaro, they changed how the world cares for injured racehorses forever. In Barbaro's greatest battle, It wasn't just one champion. It was a team of humans, proving that sometimes real heroes don't wear silks, they wear scrubs. Barbaro may have left this world far too soon, but his spirit never crossed the finish line. It runs on in every heart he ever touched. Even today, grown men stand at Churchill Downs and wipe away tears as they lay flowers at the bronze statue that guards the paddock where Barbaro once paraded like a king. The Barbaro Memorial Fund continues his fight, raising money for equine health, research, and better care for the champions who carry our dreams on fragile legs. His name funds breakthroughs in veterinary medicine that save countless horses who, like him, deserve every chance to stand again. Walk through any racetrack in America and you'll still hear his name whispered. Trainers tell young grooms about the brave bay who wouldn't give up. Fans bring kids to his statue, pointing to a hero who taught them about hope, heartbreak, and fighting for every stride, even when the odds look impossible. Barbaro's story isn't just a tale of what was lost. It's a reminder of what was gained, a legacy that says true champions never really die. As long as we remember, Barbaro keeps running, undefeated in the hearts he rules forever. Barbaro wasn't just a racehorse, he was a heartbeat that united millions. From a foal in misty pastures to a Derby king and a fallen warrior who never stopped fighting, his story still echoes through racetracks and hearts worldwide. He changed how we care for champions, how we face tragedy, and how we remember courage. Barbaro's hooves may be silent, but his spirit gallops on, a forever symbol that true legends don't just win races, they win us forever. And in every what if, he still runs free.